the third time that I am filming this video, so let's hope that it actually ends up making it to YouTube. Hello everybody and welcome back to A Royal Reader. My name is Cece and today I'm going to be talking about the 2021 series releases that I am super excited about. So I've decided to split this video up into two videos because I have a lot on this list and half of it's series and half of it is just books that are coming out that I'm excited for. So I thought, why not just split it up because it'll make it easier for everybody. Alright, so let's get started. The first book that I have on this list is one that I think is going to be on quite a few people's lists this year, and it's going to be A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. This is the fourth / spin-off series in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and this one follows Cassian and Nesta. I'm not going to be reading the synopsis of this because I actually have not finished A Court of Thorns and Roses series yet. I do plan on finishing it in 2021, so yes. All I know is that it follows Cassian and Nesta, and I'm super excited to find out how their relationship is going and if it grows and if it doesn't. And yes, I have a feeling that there's going to be quite a lot of sexual tension in this book because, I mean, it's a Sarah J Maas book, the queen of sexual tension basically, so yeah. The next book on this list is going to be the third and final book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy by Shelby Mahurin, and that's going to be Gods and Monsters. As I said, this is the third and final book. I'm not going to spoil myself for it because I also don't want to spoil you guys in case you haven't read the series yet. But in case you haven't, I will just let you know what it is about. In Serpent and Dove, we follow our two main characters, Lou and Reed. Lou is a witch and Reed is a witch hunter. Through a series of unfortunate circumstances, Lou and Reed end up having to get married, and Lou has to try and figure out how she's going to keep her secret from Reed so he doesn't kill her, while she is also struggling with the fact that she is being hunted. So this story is really fantastic. It's set in like medieval France. It's got witches and it's got just awesome characters, and I am really excited to see how Shelby Mahurin is going to wrap this up. Next is a series that I only just started this year, and the third book is coming out next year, and I'm super excited for it because both of the books made me sob at the end of it. I'm not kidding. And the series that I'm talking about is the Aurora Cycle by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. The third book is coming out. We don't have a title for it yet. We don't have a synopsis. We don't even have a cover for it. But either way, I'm super excited for it because the second book in the series, Aurora Burning, left on such a cliffhanger that I still can't believe that they did that, and I need the next book now. Please. Please. So in the Aurora Cycle, we follow our main character Tyler, who is basically like the best of the best. He is finishing top of his class and he cannot wait to be able to have like the pick of all of the people that are in the space academy that he is studying at so that he can build his perfect crew. Unfortunately, on the day of his graduation, he ended up getting distracted by a distress signal coming from a ship that has been missing for, I think, either 100 or 200 years. He goes and discovers that there's actually a girl who is stuck in a cryopod and is still actually alive. So he rescues her, and in doing so becomes late to his own graduation ceremony. So he doesn't get to pick anybody that he wanted. Instead, he gets the last draw. And in this ends up getting a ragtag team of very odd people. We have hot space elves, we have some sort of robot guy, we have a very cute little tiny mute girl. It is just a crazy group of people. On their very first mission together, they discover that Aurora has actually stowed away on their ship and she is trying to get away from the government, and they're not entirely too sure why. This then gets them in trouble with the government because, you know, they're hiding a stowaway and they all become fugitives and they have to escape the law. This book, this whole series, in fact, is absolutely crazy. There are so many twists and turns that I was not expecting, and can I just say, Cal, my hot space elf, owns my heart, okay? So I'm really looking forward to this third book in the series. I don't know if it's going to be the last book. I'm hoping it's not. I don't know where it's going to go because in true Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman fashion, they kill lots of people. So I don't know where the story is going to go, but I am super excited for it and I can't wait to be hurt all over again. The next book that I'm going to be talking about is one that I picked up also this year. The sequel is coming out next year, which is obviously why I'm talking about it, and that's going to be Bone Cries Dawn by Catherine Purdy. So I read the first book in the series, which is called Bone Cries Moon, earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. The last, like, 50 pages, it had me on the edge of my seat and I could not believe what was happening. So obviously the story continues on in the second book, and I'm not going to read the synopsis of this because it is obviously a sequel, so in case you haven't read the first book, I don't want to spoil you. So in the first book we follow our three main characters, Annalise, Sabine and Bastion. Annalise and Sabine are actually bone criers in training. Bone criers are these sort of fairies of the dead, I guess you could say. They are able to ferry the dead onto the afterlife, I guess you could say, so that they don't hang around the humans and the living. In order for them to be able to complete their sort of training process so they can become full-fledged bone criers, they have to perform a ritual that means that they have to kill their soulmate. So Annalise is preparing to kill her soulmate, and in doing so, she calls forth Bastion. And Bastion is actually after the bone criers. His father was a soulmate of a bone crier, and obviously he died thanks to a bone crier, and so it is Bastion's life vengeance to get revenge on the bone criers and kill them and eradicate them so that he can have revenge for his father's death. So when he spots Annalise, he decides that he's going to kidnap her and use her as a plot to try and kill the bone criers. Then we have Sabine, who is stuck watching this all because she's not allowed to interfere with the whole ritual. So she has to watch from the sidelines and see everything happen, and then ends up trying to save her best friend. So that is the basic premises of the story. A whole lot more goes into it, and it is just incredible. And can I also say, these covers are immaculate. I am obsessed with them. I love Charlie Bowater, I think is who does the covers. She's just amazing, okay? She's just amazing. So I am looking forward to reading that. The last 50 pages of that book was an absolute whirlwind, and I cannot believe that ending. So the next series is one that is close and dear to my heart, but I have to say, really don't like the cover or the title. And the one that I'm talking about is going to be Mr. Impossible. This is the second book in the Dreamers trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a spin-off series of the Raven Cycle, or the Raven Cycle Quartet, whatever you want to say, by Maggie Stiefvater. It follows two of the main characters, or one of the main characters from that series, called Rowan. And in the Raven Cycle you discover that Rowan is actually a dreamer, which means that he can pull things from his dreams and actually make them into reality. In this series, the Dreamers trilogy, there is more information about the dreamers, and you discover that there is a whole world of sort of dreamers and their powers and things like that, and it becomes a really serious mission and a really dangerous sort of circumstance for Rowan and his brothers. And there's also a second main character who I don't want to go too much into detail about because she was really interesting, and I find that if you don't know about her, it'll be like more interesting to read about. I personally would read the Raven Cycle before going into the series, just because the relationships and the friendships that happen throughout the Raven Cycle really affect how you see the relationships and the friendships in Call Down the Hawk, because it is set after everything that happens, and it's just, it feels like it's a more deeper story and a more deeper emotional connection that you have with the characters if you know what they've been through. So I do suggest rereading or reading the Raven Cycle before going to this series, just because I feel like it'll be better for you. I don't think you necessarily have to, but it does help with sort of background information and stuff like that. So you can if you want to. You don't have to, but yeah. So the Raven Cycle is a 4-book series following Blue Sergeant and her friendship with a group of boys called the Raven Boys. Blue Sergeant has always been told that she will kill her very first love. She is sort of like sworn off boys forever because she doesn't want to kill anybody with her kiss. And somehow she manages to see the ghost of a boy on All Adam's Eve, which is a sort of like, I don't know, a ritual, I guess you could say, where the ghosts of people who are going to die within the year are shown. And for the first time, Blue actually sees a ghost, and it's this boy called Gansey. She gets wrapped up in this really weird mission that Gansey is on, where he is trying to find a sleeping Welsh king. There's a legend that goes, if you wake the king, he will grant you a wish. So this book is really atmospheric, and I love the writing. The writing is definitely the best aspect of it, as well as the characters. The characters are also the second best thing about this book in my opinion. It's definitely big on the found families trope, which I love, and so if you're looking for a good found families book, definitely pick this series up. So yes. The next series is one that I have just found this year as well, and it is the Fortunesworn series. The third book just got released recently, and it is called Deadly Dreams, and the fourth book is set to come out next year as well, and it's called Beautiful Nightmare. I don't want to read the synopsis of this, as it is obviously the fourth book in the series, and I have not read the third book in the series, so yes. We also don't have a cover for it, so I can't show you a picture of it, but I'll put a picture of the first book up. Here you go. So in this series, so this is Fortunesworn by KJ Sutton. This is a dark fae romance story following Fortunesworn, who is a mythical being called a nightmare. Fortuna has these powers where she is able to discover what your biggest fears are and make them appear in your mind. So you think that you are, you know, if you're scared of spiders, you are covered head to toe in spiders and stuff like that. So she is really, really powerful. At the beginning of this book, you discover that Fortuna's younger brother Damon has been missing for 2 years, and she has been on the hunt for him ever since. She's not sure who took him, she's not sure how he managed to disappear. It is a complete mystery. That is until a male fae approaches her and says that he knows where her brother is and how she can get to him. The only thing is that she has to agree to marry him in order for him to take her to where he is. So that's where the story starts. I don't want to go into too much more detail because it is quite a significant story that follows that plot, as well as like a few others that I don't want to describe because it'll just take away from the whole plot of the book. There are a lot of trigger warnings for this series, I'm not going to lie. It is freaking dark. Like, I have just finished the second book, and oh my god, the ending. My heart was breaking, so this series is definitely full of angst. It is also a sort of slow burn romance as well. And there's so many trigger warnings. There's sexual abuse, there's sexual assault, there is like drug abuse, there's also manipulation, I guess. There's just a whole bunch of trigger warnings, so do please be careful if you're going to pick this series up. It's not for the faint-hearted, okay? But nonetheless, the characters in this are amazing, the romance in this is incredible, and the world itself is also extremely interesting, and I am looking forward to reading the fourth book in the series. And the last series that I want to talk about is one that I actually haven't seen too many people speak about. This series is called The Girl King, and it is written by Mimi Yu, and the second book was supposed to come out this year, but unfortunately it got pushed back due to COVID, and so it comes out next year, and it is called The Empress of Flames. So this is an Asian fantasy series, sort of, I think, based off Korean mythology. I'm not entirely too sure. And in this we have our two main characters who are sisters. We have Lu, who is the older sister, and she is so hell-bent on getting the throne. She believes that she is the rightful heir to it. She thinks that she's going to be able to get it once the king decides to step away from the throne. And so she wants it really badly. And then we have our second main character, Min, who is the younger sister of Lu. She is dealing with these really weird visions that she keeps having and these weird powers that she seems to be sort of developing, and she's not entirely too sure what exactly is going on. So in this, the very first thing that happens is that the king does not give Lu the throne. Lu is sort of cast aside, and the throne is set to go to their cousin called Set. Set is obviously not fit to rule at all. He is like that sort of playboy, you know, rich boy, doesn't deserve the throne in any way, shape or form, but unfortunately Lu can't get the throne. So she goes on this mission to try and find something that will ensure her ability to be able to rule. In doing so, she stumbles upon the last surviving wolf shifter called Nakaya, I think is how you pronounce his name. And they both go on this mission to sort of discover some sort of old mystical thing that will be able to have Lu become the queen, or the girl king, I guess you could say. And then poor Min is stuck back at the castle. She is stuck under Set's thumb. He doesn't leave her alone at all and discovers that her powers might be able to give him the throne. This story is absolutely insane, and I don't know why more people aren't reading it. It is such an underrated fantasy, and especially it's an underrated Asian fantasy that I think a lot of people will enjoy. It was such a fun book, and like, it was also quite dark, and it is a YA fantasy, so it's not too dark, but it does get quite serious at times, and I really, really loved it, and I cannot wait to read the next book, and I just need it. Alright, so those are all of these series that I have that are coming out in 2021. Obviously, there is going to be more that I'm going to want to put on this list, but at the moment, those are all the ones that I am particularly interested in or have my eye on anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know what some of your thoughts are down in the comments below. My battery is flashing at me, so I have to hurry this up. Be sure to check out my Twitter and Instagram links. They are always in the description box, so please be sure to check those out and give me a follow. Click the subscribe button as well so you can be notified for when I upload new videos. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys in another video later on.